Ririsa always has her priorities straight. When you're presented with a shocking scenario, Mikari is finally cosplaying as Lilio. What is the big major question everybody has? What type of pantsu she's wearing? Is the most important thing. I gotta check on her here. Sadly, they didn't show it. The manga, they show it. She just literally lifts it up, and Masamune is right in front of her, and she's like, "Yeah, it's it looks very real." That's because it is real. It's like again, is a whole the disconnect that Ririsha has with Pantsu will always be one of the funniest things about the series, and I don't know why I can't get over it. But, anyways, good episode overall. Unfortunately, skipped an entire segment, which looks like a really fun segment from the manga, and that's this whole little bit where they're trying to, or at least Lirisha is trying to thank Masamune. They're talking about a culture festival coming up, and so they decided to go ahead and do a maid cafe situation where they're cosplaying, obviously her as Lilio and Mikari as the friend, and yes, they're in sort of maidish outfits with very flashy unders, and yeah, it's a funny little bit. I think they could still do it, like, because they've moved stuff around already in the manga to the anime adaptation, so they could still do it. I'm not sure if they will, just because unless they're going to do it an actual cultural festival in the story, I don't know if they would actually insert that. They'd rather just kind of move the story along, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm not going to get into too much details on it now because it might actually still happen, but good episode overall. I think my only misgiving of this episode is that it spent a little bit too much time on the whole partnerships and rivalry thing. I think the photography thing is important because Masamune is not taking this quite as serious as he should, and I like the fact that Ogino sort of impressions upon him that he's part of the equation here, that Masamune's work will make or break Ririsha. If the idea is to get her out there, he needs to do a good job. So that was a kind of a cool little segment, but again, I think it kind of dragged out too long. Like, it almost felt like this entire episode was kind of dedicated to that. But anyhow, let's get into the episode proper. Opening up with Mikari walking in on Ririsha. Lock the stupid door. It's in a school. I mean, I get the whole walk-in scenes with at home or whatever, the bathrooms or whatever, you know, that sense of comfort and whatnot, not expecting people to walk in the door. But at school, any student can literally walk in that door and see her just all bearing everything. But anyways, yeah, it's kind of getting over that whole situation with, you know, is she seeing that, you know, she likes Masamune? And again, at least Mikari now is getting the sense that these two are idiots. That Risha is also an idiot, just like Masamune, that she literally doesn't see it. Oh yeah, I found out while we were hanging out that I really like him as a cosplay partner. Okay, I don't have anything to fear. Mikari's literally like, I don't have anything to fear. They're both idiots. Just like Masamune, she's an idiot too. Yeah, that ending of that last episode was really frustrating. But yes, Lirisha running off and then bumping into a teacher. Now, I'm sorry, this has been flagged to death. This teacher has got to be this Mayuri character, or Mayura. Mayura, the one that dropped out of cosplay. We talked about her quite a bit in the last episode. And then suddenly in this episode, we're talking about her again, talking about how she left cosplay because of her job. Now it kind of makes sense. If she is a teacher, it sort of makes sense why she made the decision that she did. And that's the idea that, yes, I would expect, at least even in Japan, people to find out that she's wearing skimpy outfits, doing adult cosplay. Probably bad that people found out about that. So it makes sense why she would have gotten out of it, if it is her. But still, I would kind of expect that Mayuri would have realized who Ririsa was. But I guess she met her very briefly at one cosplay a long time ago. I doubt she's going to remember her that much. And then we have a title for the next episode talking about having an advisor. I'm guessing it's going to be Mayura. And then she's going to maybe possibly get re-inspired to get into cosplay that way, because I was kind of assuming that with the last episode. My assumption was that, yeah, I have no doubt that at some point they're going to meet, or at least Mayura is going to meet Lidio, her in a cosplay, and then she's going to get inspired to get back into it. This is a good way of doing that. Having her actually be an advisor of the club if they do cosplay and she has to show up, it would be a good way to get in there. But no, that's when we get Mikari finding the cosplay and deciding to wear it. I was like, the entire time I'm just screaming at the TV, girl, get him, get him, get him. Just pressure him, just keep going, girl, keep going. She's like, you know, you could do whatever you want with me kind of thing. At first she was flustered, which I thought was super cute. And then eventually realizing that he's super into it and then just diving into it. You could do whatever you want to me. And then of course Masamune has to give the most otaku response, the most, idol fan response ever, is that Lidio is not just mine. I can't touch her. She's not my property. There's others out there kind of thing. It's stepping over the line. It's totally an otaku response there, but it's like, girl, keep going. Like at that point, I'm like, Mikari, come on, just tell him, look, you're not you. You're Ashford, and Ashford can do whatever he wants to her. Come on, keep pressing it, girl. It's heartbreaking. Again, just like last time he rejected her, it almost has that sense of almost her kind of not being heartbroken about the situation, which does kind of lessen the blow of it, and the idea that she's realizing, oh, he's a gentleman. This is just like him. He's always been this way. But at the same time, also realizing, I wish he would be that with me, my actual self, not just Lilio. So it's still heartbreaking. It still sucks. And then again, Ririsa showing up, having to check the Ponzu. No, they had a really good moment here because this does technically get into something that I think we've hinted at before in cosplay, and I really like these kind of seemingly deep subjects that are kind of mixed in with the comedy and whatnot, and that is the idea of somebody not really feeling like they are the match of the character. That was what they kind of got into with Lilio, or Ririsa dressing up as Lilio, and Mikari not wanting to dress up as Lilio because she doesn't feel like she's got the figure for it. Ririsa has the figure for it. I don't. And again, it goes into what I sort of feel is very important to get into, which is the idea that no matter what your body type is, no matter what your skin color is, no matter how old you are, young you are, chunky, not chunky, whatever you are, whatever your body type is, you can still cosplay the character. I like kind of like how Masamune puts it in the idea. It's just like fan art. A lot of fan art is not going to be consistent to the actual art itself. There's going to be some differences to it. Some people are going to have different art styles to it. And yes, some people aren't going to be as good as other people at drawing the character, but they're still all significant. All art is still art. And even with cosplay, it's the same thing. No matter if you don't have the right chest size, no matter if you don't have the right body figure, all that stuff, your cosplay of it is still good. You can still fit that character. It doesn't matter. It's what your passion is. That's the important thing. If you have a passion into it, that's what's important. So if you're drawing and you're not drawing quite well, keep drawing. You still have that passion. That passion is going to come through with your drawing. So I thought it was a really good message there. This message that, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people of color that cosplay characters in anime. And yes, a lot of anime characters are very white. And they all look fantastic. It doesn't matter. As long as your cosplay is great and you have that passion in it, hell yeah, you nail it. It's a really cool message, and I love that they kind of threw it in there. And again, it's not like it's trying to dig into it and really be preachy about it. It's just enough to kind of say, hey, Mikari, even if you don't have the body type, you nail it, girl. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. Yeah, that's when we get into Masamune going to hang out with Magino and Ogino. And again, this was like a really, it's a good point in the whole story, but at the same time, it is a little bit drug out. The main key things here is, yes, Masamune kind of learning how to frame his pictures, getting the right shot at the right time. I love how the entire time Ogino's like downplaying what he's doing. Like, oh, you're getting there. You'll eventually get there. You're not as good as me. Look at over here. And I was kind of thinking the same thing, but like, it kind of looks the same. Now, technically to a very good photographer, maybe they'll see the difference there, but still, it's like Magano walks up and says, man, these are great. Yeah, he looks like his shots are just the same as yours. It's like, is it saying that Ogino doesn't realize that he's not that good? Is it because somebody that doesn't have like an insanely good eye of photography won't know the difference? Or is it just saying that Masamune is just really, really good? It's like, which one is it? It was great. I like it. It was a fun little bit. But yes, the key thing in here was talking about the Heavenly Four or whatever, the major cosplayers. There's tons of other ones, but these are like the ones. And again, this Mayura is one that has dropped out. And that he's really happy that he showed him Lilio-chan as they call her, which is technically Ririsa, and how she could possibly be that next one. And yes, Masamune doxing her, just blurting out her name just out of nowhere. Yeah, it's Ririsa. Oh, her name is Ririsa? Don't worry, won't tell anybody. It was a nice little bit there. And again, getting into the rivalry aspect and the aspect of the importance of a partner. At least Ogino believes that he's very, very important. But Magano has said the same thing. That yes, they're partners. They do everything together. The cosplayer is great. And yes, I think most people see the cosplayer. They don't really care much about the photographer, and especially since there's a lot of photographers. But for their situation here, they talk about the idea of this pairing. That Ririsa is going to be presented by Masamune. And I was having that feeling with the convention. I was like, dang, Masamune, help her some more. Show her around. And again, Ogino kind of helped with, skirting everybody around, making a group, making a semicircle and all that kind of stuff. But still, Masamune could be handing out the CDs and all that kind of stuff. But either way, it kind of just a wake-up call for him that if he wants to take this seriously, that he wants to help her out, he needs to step it up. So it was cool stuff there. And yes, getting a little bit into him nearly being NTR. A cosplay NTR. Can we say that we had a cosplay NTR segment where Magano was trying to steal away Masamune and him suddenly realizing that this is kind of inappropriate? But again, that kind of opened the door to the discussion, the idea that, these cosplayers want to be seen. And yes, he has this feeling like Magano doesn't want these pictures taken, but she's here to have those pictures taken. She wants to be seen, and you have to show the world them being seen. So it's like a little funny little segment, but it's still kind of aspect of him being tempted by this hot Magino. And he's like, no, I'm only for Lilio. I can't be swayed by this harletan. It was funny. I thought it was a good little bit. Yeah, he brings this up to Ririsa. Ririsa talks about how she doesn't really care about being one of the top 4, but she doesn't want to be seen. So they're super partners right before the student council shows up. The dreaded student council finally makes its appearance. You have a show about people in a club. Eventually, the student council comes to shut it down. Now, 2 funny things here is one is the aquarium club. Like, he's like, what the hell is an aquarium club? Aquarium observing club, I think is what it said in the manga. But it's like, what? What the hell is that? Additionally, the fact that apparently they were not qualified to be a status of it for 3 years, which means even it doesn't seem to have anything to do with memberships. Because again, in the previous year, he had his senpais in there. I think they had like 4 people in there. So it's not memberships. So there's something else there that apparently is not allowing it to be a club. But yeah, again, based on the title of the next episode, I'm assuming it's because they don't have an advisor. I don't know. But we'll see if they can save it. Again, technically they talked about renting out rooms in order to do photography, so I guess they'll just use whatever club rooms they can have or whatever place they can rent. I felt more bad for Ririsa because she looked really sad about the situation. Like, we finally got this thing, she's really enjoying it, she joined the photography, and then she's gonna lose it, which is kind of a bummer. But, oh yeah, how could I forget? We had a random Dom moment. Like, randomly out of nowhere, apparently brought in a bunch of doujinshis, and they're like all Lilio being dommed, locked up and stuff. And it gets some weird discussion about how apparently shonen heroine characters all seem to be fitting in that category. I don't know. I guess I would have to look it up. I have to look into it, but I guess I could totally see that. I guess it could go in the whole. Most shonen series are about a main character who's like the hero of the story, but that's pretty much everything. Like, what story, what genre doesn't have female characters being, saved or whatever? It's just it's a very simple concept that people are into. You like the idea of being the hero. You like reading the hero story where they save the girl and all that good stuff. So it kind of fits in there, but it's just an excuse to get Ririsa to want to talk about Dom and getting into a situation where she's all tied up and everything, which thankfully it doesn't look like they really censored anything that from the manga. It was pretty much all 1 for 1. I just like it more the fact of hearing Ririsa talk about the fact that she kind of fits both categories. Like, yeah, I relate to the girls, so I guess I like the idea of being dommed. And then she's like, oh, but I like the idea of reading this stuff, so I guess I like to be the dominator or whatever. And I guess the boldness of Masamune to bring that stuff to school. Holy crap, dude. He's gonna get expelled for that. Anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 6 of 2.5 Dimensional Seduction. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what's the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe before you leave. If you want to support the channel, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate what it does. Until next time, y'all take care.